All right. As I always tell you, if I find out something that might be of use to anybody that's working on one of the radios that I'm working on, I do it so that person will find the answer. Now, he cut his nails. He cut his nails. Anyway, this is the original uh, antenna trimmer from the radio. I added copper wires on, and I had to get it in such a position. I had to put a clamp on it and squeeze it in so the plates had equal distance from each other, are centered, could be another word. And it measured 60 picofarads, which is what I was expecting. I went through all the shortwave radios that have the tuning cap for the antenna, the Nationals, and only one of them listed it as 50 picofarads. And by interpolation, that's what I had come to, 50, 60. And how I did that was, this is an APC Hammerland 100 picofarad capacitor. This one's really good for regenerative radios. You can use it for both the main tuning, and you can also use it, in most cases I use it for the throttle. And so this one's 50, and here's this one here is 30 picofarads. So if you look at the plates here, there's less plates, they're further apart, so that makes sense. 30 picofarads, 50, 100. Now also, as far as, right away I'm thinking, will this come apart? And I've used heat on it, I've tried everything. All right, these capacitors, this style, when they first come out, they had a nut on the main shaft. And if you loosen the nut up, the thing would come apart, and you could rebend the part that's springy. But in most cases, you could add a shim into it to make up what got worn away, and then re-oil and put it back in the radio. Well, every time I would pick one of these up, I say, how did they put these together? Now, once you see one that comes apart, you realized over the years they took away the adjustable or the nut to take it apart. They're press fitted together. They take the pieces, they stack them, machine comes down, and that's it. It's a finished piece. When it goes bad, you throw it away. That's it. But originally, this one's almost there. They put this shaft into it, and I think it's probably glued in there. They didn't want it coming apart. So anyway, this is the old style. There is, it looks like a nut mechanism, but if you could unscrew this shaft here, this would come apart. But I tried heat, it wouldn't do it, and that's that. But I ordered two APC 50s from eBay, one from one guy and one from another guy. Both of them are promising to have it here within 3 days. And we'll see. I got two of them coming. We'll see who decides to wait till Saturday to ship it. Let's see who. Probably both of them will come super fast because, maybe not. But anyway, I tell you, the radio came within 3 freaking days. I ordered it on like a Tuesday, and it came Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, it came Thursday. It was supposed to come Friday, but it came Thursday. 3 freaking days this thing took to get here. And everything else I'm ordering, even from a guy 3 towns over, and the thing took almost a week to get here. But not having good luck with the post office. But this time I said, let me order the same part from 2 different people, and hopefully I get this and I can start. I'm going to start cleaning the radio tomorrow, and then put the trimmer cap, the new trimmer cap in towards the weekend. We're supposed to get some type of rainstorm coming across the country. It would be nice to have that part to put in there, because I know it's not going to be real hard putting it together because the screws or the bolts that I bolt the capacitor in with, I'm putting them in. Somebody else that put in this radio, they put them in really tight, or there could have been clipped all on the threads. I don't know, but I used heat, shock, and then different screwdrivers, offset screwdrivers, to get those 2 bolts to crack loose. It was a nightmare. But right now, I did some tests on this thing, and if I clamp it and clamp this from end to end, and get the separation of the plates, get them centered, it reads 60 picofarads. And that's still 1 or 2 plates, still a little too close. So I know this most likely is 50 picofarads, for the antenna trimmer. And I also verified it by finding other radios of the Nationals that have the same trimmer cap, the same circuitry basically. It's an RCA patent. And then it's 50 picofarads. But most of them just say variable or air capacitor or whatever. They don't give you the value. They don't give you the value of the main tuning capacitors because they're not going to supply them. Well, now the radio's this radio is older than I am. Yeah, it's older than I am by a few years. So the parts are hard to get. You got to substitute. And I'm not kidding you. I go for a long walk in the middle of the day. I cook lunch. I take a nap. But the rest of the time was sitting on eBay, going through, because you have to have this 1/4-inch shaft coming out to go on the coupler. All right. There's a lot of capacitors on eBay that have they're set. They're made to be mounted, set with a screwdriver, and then you tighten the nut to hold the setting. There's no shaft really on them. And that's what they did here. They took that kind of capacitor and they somehow took some part out. And this is, I won't say this is bogus. They got the value they wanted with the shaft that they wanted. They made it themselves. And it has no part number on it. Where these are the ones I buy when I can buy them. These are Hammerlin APC. This is APC 100. It's 100 picofarad. I like using this for in regen radios and other radios. You can put a capacitor in series with it to get the value you really want. So if you want a 0 to 50, you just put a 50 picofarad in series with this, and it'll tune within that range. And now I could have put one of these in the radio and padded it, but this is one of my favorite capacitors. And seeing that I can get two APC 50s, I'm not gonna ruin this one or tie this one up in that radio when this could be used at a later date. Even my VCO, no, not VCO. VCO, yeah, my VCO I was working with, I have one of these in it. Oh, the other thing too, these old capacitors, when you scrape the plates, see how they're black? That's silver plated brass. And these are aluminum. These are cheaper and these are press fitted together. But I can't tell you how many times in my life I picked one of these up and looked into it, and then my brain went numb. It was just like, put it down, you can't figure it out. And then I did see this thing here this morning. You lift this up and move it off to the side, and that keeps it from turning. But I thought maybe when you turned it off, there was some type of trick and it would come apart, but that wasn't it. And there is an article up there where a guy takes one of the older ones apart. And now that I got them ordered, I'm going to go back through and see if anybody did get to take one of these apart. See, there's always some person out there that stays with something even longer than I do. I put time into this thing this morning, on and off. Can I get it apart? Can I rebuild it? I do that. And then, like a lot of people would just put this in, just 100 pico, pad it with a 50. That's in series. And people that used to go after me on the groups, oh, you can't put a cap in series, blah, blah, blah. It's called padding. It's actually got a term for it. And when you switch between bands, the capacitors that are tuning, the oscillator, they're padded with a series capacitor. So it'll be within that range of the new frequencies that you went for. Got to remember the capacitors in this radio, say they're 360 picofarads. Well, you go up in frequency, you don't need that much. So you make them, the 360, be 50 by putting a 50 in series with it, or a 25, and then it's only 25. It's called padding. I went looking, and I found the actual term, because when these guys were attacking me, I didn't know the word padding. And then when I found it, I worked backwards, and then other people finally showed up or got the nerve to go along with me. And then I said, you know what? I don't need this group. And I was out of there. And then I joined this other group, and I was doing a transmitter. And I have the transmitter finished. And this wackadoodle guy kept redrawing the my schematic. I post the schematic each day. The little tweaks I was making, he was redrawing it with his handwriting and screwing it up. And everybody was asking him how it works, how to do this. Meanwhile, I didn't realize I was the real guy. And I said, you know what? I don't need this. And it's because where I worked, a guy would ask me for a schematic for a decoder, and then he would redraw it in his handwriting, and then pass it around to everybody. I wouldn't pay. I wouldn't give it. My decoders only got the schematics only went to certain people, but he'd ask me for it, and then finally I cut him off. He was the only one that didn't get his circuit to work, and he bounced out of our company to somebody else, another company. But there was something going on there. A lot of people don't get the concepts of each part. You know, like when you remove one plate on this capacitor, it's going to be the N one. So the N one, say if you tear, you can take them out. You take the N one off, it's not as much capacitors that you're losing as the next one. The next capacitor or plate has two plates on either side, one on each side. So the first one you take off only changes the capacitance a little bit. Then you get greedy and you take the next one off, and the next one actually has two plates on one on each side. And then all of a sudden, say one you take off one, and the thing goes down 10 picofarads. Well, the next one you take off, you're going to lose. It's going to be 20. So all this stuff I have in my head because I've actually done it. And while I'm in these different groups, trying to find out, can this be rebuilt? You got to see the answers that people get, that they show up. Put this in there, and then they come up with these values just off the top of their head. They want to make conversation. They want to sound smart, but the poor guy trying to get the thing working, they're giving him bad information. I think that's it. All right, that's it.